All right, good morning, scholars. Happy day 138. We're going to dive right into our lesson for today. So yesterday we learned about decimals. Decimals are numbers that are smaller than one whole. Just like fractions, these are numbers that are going to be smaller than one whole. And we learned how to write those numbers and figure out their value. Today we're going to take that same understanding of decimals being smaller than one whole, and we're going to apply that to what we already know about fractions to help us figure out how to turn decimals into fractions. So these are the steps that we're going to take. First, we're going to draw and label our place value chart. Then we're going to write the number we're looking for inside of the place value chart. We're going to underline that number, circle the place value that it's in, and then combine those two to get our fraction. When we combine, the number that we're looking at is going to serve as our numerator, and the place value, meaning is it tenths, hundredths, or thousands, or 10,000s, 100,000s, so on and so on, that will serve as the denominator because that's the place and how much it is out of. So you're going to watch me go through these steps to answer some questions, and then you're going to use the same strategy when it's your turn to practice. Okay. Question number 1 says, use the number 543.12 to answer the question. And the question says, what is the value of the 2 as a fraction? So they're asking me, how much is this 2 worth as a fraction? So I'm going to go through my steps. First step is to draw and label my place value chart. So hundredths, tens, ones, a decimal point, tenths, then hundredths. Cool. Step 2 says write the number in the place value chart. So I'm going to write this number 543.12. So that's the number I'm looking at. Step 3 says underline the number we're trying to figure out. Well, we are trying to figure out the value of the 2. So the 2 is here. This is what I'm underlining. Then I'm going to circle the place value that it's in. The 2 is in this hundredths place value. So that means that I have 2 hundredths. Well, what does that look like as a fraction? Well, if I call this number 2 hundredths, how do I write it? Well, the number is the numerator, 2. The place value is the denominator, hundredths. So 2 hundredths as a decimal looks like 2 hundredths as a fraction. So a 2 in the hundredths place as a decimal equals 2 hundredths as a fraction. So that is how I figure out how much that value is worth. Same thing for this problem. It says, use the number 543.12 to find the value of 1 as a fraction. So I'm going to go through my same steps. Step 1 is always to draw and label my place value chart. Hundredths, tens, ones, decimal point, tenths, hundredths. Step 2 is to write the number inside of the chart, making sure that everything is lined up correctly. Step 3 is to underline the number. This time I'm looking at the 1, so I'm going to underline the 1 and cross it out. Step 4 is to circle the place value that the 1 is in. The 1 is in the tenths place value, so I have 1/10. So if I say 1/10, 1/10 means I have 1 in the 10th place value, which looks like this. So 1/10 is the same as writing 1/10. The trick here, scholars, is to make sure that when you say the number and the place value, that's what you are going to write. We write it just like we say it. Another example, use 987.65 to answer what is the value of 6 as a fraction. So once again, what are my steps? First step is to draw my place value chart. Second step is to write this number inside of the chart. So 9 hundredths, 8 tens, 7 ones, decimal point, 6 tenths, 5 hundredths. I'm going to underline the value I'm looking for. For this number, we are trying to find how much the 6 is worth. And what place value is the 6 in? It's in the tenths place. So if I want to make that into a fraction, I say the number and then the place value. This is 6 in the tenths place, which means my fraction is going to be 6 tenths. And that makes sense because if I have 0.60, that's showing me that I have 6 tenths. 6 tenths could also be thinking about dimes. If I have 6 dimes, that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And that's exactly what this looks like. So in order to figure out the value as a fraction, you draw and label your place value chart. You write that number inside of the chart. You underline the number. You circle the place value. You combine those two. When you combine it, make sure you say the number and the place value out loud so that you can hear, oh, that's 6 in the tenths place, so I need a 6 in the tenths place, which is 6 over 10. You are going to do that same strategy for your independent practice problems. So you're going to go through each one using the steps to answer your independent practice problems so that you can practice until you get to your exit ticket. You are going to answer your exit ticket problems. Please remember to click submit so that you can turn in your assignment. Make sure that you are using the criteria for success to help you answer each question. Good luck and hop to it.